Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines, and most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice a week long form podcast, because I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday on this beautiful winter March day, because damn near everywhere out there is getting hammered with snow right now. Well, at least in the Midwest where I'm from, and I'm out here in beautiful sunny Arizona while everybody else is dealing with that stuff. But yeah, you guys, we got some headlines that we are going to break down. Also, I got a brand new episode of the podcast released this morning. It was a really good conversation, right? I got to sit down with another agent at SPI Logistics, Michael Smith. And he started off as an agent back, I think, when I was 10 years old. Like, no joke. I think he started like 96 or something like that as an agent. And he's built his business off of that. You know, he's still currently an agent with SPI. He owns trucks. He owns a cold storage, and all of that, and kind of how it progressed just by starting an agency and then building up other service offerings based off of customer demand. I really love talking with all the other agents at SPI. I love interviewing entrepreneurs and just kind of hearing about what they go through in their journey and everything out there. So that's available on iTunes and Spotify right now. Robert Cowton, what is up, my man? He says, good morning. Good job interviewing James Lemon. Yeah, dude, James is great, by the way. James is actually the CFO at SPI Logistics, and I love hearing about the financial side of things. I'm just such a student of the game. I just love learning about business and everything out there. Corey Buchan, good morning, all, coming in over on YouTube. Corey, great to see him, my man. Let's see here. Fuel. That's right. There is a new fuel price that got released out there yesterday, and it is up 0.6 cents. So we're at $4.03 a gallon nationwide, you guys. I get all of that information from the EIA.gov. Sonny Sharma, good morning, Freight Geeks, he says over on LinkedIn. I'm not seeing some of the comments come through, you guys. I don't know what's going on. It seems that the comments from LinkedIn don't show up on my live stream here. So if I don't see you, that is why. I noticed that yesterday I was getting emailed about notifications, but it wasn't showing up here on my stream itself. So I'm not ignoring you guys, I promise. Let me see here. Also, TIA conference here coming up in a couple of weeks, you guys. April 12th, I believe it is. Yeah, it is the week of April 10th, April 10th, 11th, and 12th out here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm speaking on a panel on Friday, the 12th, on personal branding and branding in a business. And then I just really look forward to the TIA event. Obviously, being a freight broker myself and being a member of the TIA for the last couple of years, there's a lot of value in that event, you guys. So check it out. My man Kyle Provost, you guys have seen him on the show with Broker Carrier. He's going to be down there as well, walking around, strutting his shit out there on the floor. We're actually, we got our latest. It's been an exciting week, right? Like I get so in my zone sometimes that I don't kind of stop to think about what I actually have going on, which is kind of a gift and a curse, because I don't realize certain things at times. But like, we just did a major overhaul to Broker Carrier. We have the Ferrari of API built. Kyle is a madman back there, and we're going to be out there talking to other potential integration partners and get this platform up and running, you guys, because in my opinion, we have the top capacity management / carrier vetting platform that is out there, you guys, for you guys to use. And again, we have a free tool. Okay. I'm going to just share my screen quick and I want to show this to you because you don't have to be, we would love to have you as a customer, but you don't have to be a customer of ours to utilize this, you guys. So if you can see this up here, just go to broker carrier here. We'll just go to brokercarrier.com, go to resources right here, and then do carrier lookup quick vet. Put in their MC number. This is a free tool for brokers and carriers to use. Shippers, you guys can use this as well to vet your partners out there. This is going to show duplicate information. Here, let's just do one of these searches quick. This is going to show, here it is. This is just an example, the Sanderson Group. And here we go. This shows any issues that they might have. This is a great way to kind of tell if this is somebody who has multiple known associations with other carriers, other shared addresses with other businesses, and everything else, you guys. This is free. All right. You don't need to be a user of ours. Anybody can do it. Just go to brokercarrier.com under resources and then look up carrier lookup / quick vet. Go out there. And again, just a disclaimer that it can be potentially up to 10 days old, but you can get obviously the real-time stuff is when you're a user of ours, but we wanted to put this out there for individuals to use in their business. If you guys want to use some form of carrier vetting, or if any carriers out there want to use something to check on their brokers and the people who are giving them any loads out there, to check them out and just to see, you guys, it's a great tool. It's free. Check it out on Broker Carrier. If you want to meet Kyle and I in person, again, if you're at the TIA event, we'll be walking around out there together. Let me see here. Robert, having Adam from DIY Semi. He's super nice and knowledgeable, and he has a carrier in Wisconsin. And oh yeah, dude. If you've talked to him, I'd love an introduction. By all means, man, especially if he's from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin, born and raised. So we can definitely do that, man. But let's get into some articles here. As always, you guys. Yeah, that's completely my fault. I think I just accidentally ended my stream. I'm not a tech guy at all. I just know how to hit stream and talk shit into a mic. Anyways, the links to the articles I will put up on the Freight Coach YouTube channel, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only replay, which is going to be available after the show on iTunes and Spotify. First article is about everybody's favorite topic, detention time. This article comes from fleetowner.com. Detention is the bane of drivers and fleets. The primary goal of fleets and drivers is getting their product to its destination and loading or unloading it safely and on time. But there are challenges to achieve this goal, some occurring before they reach their destination and others after they have arrived. Drivers have to contend with traffic congestion, weather. Obviously, there's a bunch of weather going on out there right now. Just another subtle note, no truckload is worth a human life. Severe weather conditions, breakdowns, and changing regulations. The delays that occur before the vehicle arrives at its destination create a domino effect and affects the entire supply chain. What makes the situation worse is when drivers finally arrive, they face delays that can last for hours. Few things can be more exacerbating for a driver and the company than to have them arrive at its destination on time for pickup or delivery and then have to wait sometimes for extended hours. It is important to remember that the industry and regulators consider 2 hours as an appropriate amount of time to load and or unload. Any amount of time beyond that is considered detention. For drivers who need to comply with hours of service, long detention can mean drivers run out of hours. Drivers lose time and money, and drivers have reported upwards of 28% increase in delays of 6 or more hours. In addition, the driver reports that there's a nearly 40% increase in drivers who reported that most of their pickups and deliveries were delayed over the past 12 months due to customer actions. And, this just brings up a good topic to me because I know detention is a major pain point for a lot of carriers out there. I would love to hear from some of you. How do you guys handle detention? All right. Cause I know what my personal policy is on it. We don't make drivers wait to get an updated rate confirmation when it comes down to detention. I think that it's not there because as a broker, and again, I'm only speaking from the standpoint as a broker here. It's not the driver who is in contact with the customer. I'm the one who's managing the relationship with the carrier and the customer. And if the driver's waiting and there's a valid detention claim, we all know what I'm talking about there. They should never have to wait to get a revised rate confirmation or anything like that. I will go to my customer and get that rate approved because, again, I don't believe in marking up detention time. It's not going to turn into a profit center for me. It's a straight pass through. And because I look at it like this, some people are afraid to request accessorials from customers if there's valid detention or layovers or something like that. And I would want you guys all to think about this. If you're working with a shipper, because I've worked with some shippers in the past who don't pay detention at all. I look at it like this, and ironically, the ones that don't pay detention are the ones who tend to not pay fast either. Um, I look at it like this from a business owner's perspective. That's probably not somebody who I would want to work with long term. If they're not going to pay for detention when there's a valid claim, are they going to pay me? That's what goes through my head when I come across this because the overwhelming majority of customers do pay detention when there is a valid detention claim. So, carriers just out there right now, because I see all of your guys' posts all over social media and stuff like that. Um, Not every shipper in North America doesn't pay detention. Very few actually don't pay detention. So keep that in mind. Steps fleets managers can take to mitigate the problem: negotiate agreements, discuss detention policies with shippers and receivers, and I would also say brokers as well, outline expectations for loading times, invest in tracking tool technologies. I think this is the most important one out of all of these things is because I actually interviewed Yardview YMS, by the way, a couple weeks back, and we talked about this on there about this tracks when trucks arrive and depart facilities. Because again, I would want to know, I would want irrefutable evidence that my driver was here from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 7 o'clock at night. I don't want anything out there. So that's where I think technology really comes into play. You got to be able to prove it, unfortunately, right? Because, sometimes your word just isn't going to be good enough. So, from my perspective out there, that's exactly what I would want. Analyze data. The data obviously helps you identify which customers you're going to want to work with, and then keep your communication lines open. I think that again, you should notify everybody in writing. I would step away from a phone call in this situation, but if you've hit that 2-hour mark, email the broker, email the shipper, email the receiver, whomever sent you that load, and let them know detention time is starting. Take that proactive approach in that, because then that makes the broker not be able to refute it and then say, because how many times as a driver, have you said that I had detention? And then they say, you never reached out to notify us. I would assume, and again, I can't speak for everybody, but I would assume that's the most common rebuttal that a freight broker would use, and say, you never told us you were in detention, therefore we're not paying you. I'm going to say that with confidence because I may or may not have done that in a past life. I think that some of these tactics that brokers use to not pay you detention can easily be fixed by taking that proactive approach. I'm not saying it's fair or anything like that, but I'm just giving a quick tip on what you can do to ensure that you are compensated for that. Because obviously detention results in lost revenue. Okay. And again, I want to be clear. I don't think any shipper or receiver wakes up every single day and says, how are we going to fuck up our day and delay every single truck coming in and out of here so we can piss everybody off? I don't think that happens. Yes, there are some facilities out there that are notorious for long waiting times. I can't speak for everybody, but I would say that that's kind of the base level is that not everybody out there is waking up and hoping that happens, but delays happen, things happen. And again, as quick as others are, as quick as somebody might be in that instance to blame and, cause a shitstorm, remember that when you're the one at fault in those instances. I think that that's another key thing to take into consideration, because when you are the reason that you're late, you're going to want some grace in those situations as well. Again, detention is one of those situations that it's going to be a thing no matter what. Detention's always going to be around. Uh, I think that that's pretty damn clear at this point, but have a process in place to follow. Be proactive in that event. If you're the driver and you're listening to this, I think it's pretty clear that people aren't going to be proactive to you. So you should be out there notifying them in writing. No phone calls, in writing. Notify the broker. We're in detention. Have a pre-negotiated rate out there. And I think the Rate Per Mile Rate Masters group, I forget the name of it, Chad Boblett's group on Facebook, they talk about that quite often in there, about what you should be doing about having pre-negotiated rates and everything else. There's some really good advice out there for you guys to protect your business. That article was from Fleet Owner. Again, all the links to the articles we'll put up there. Next article I wanted to break down, because it's kind of a labor month here on the show, especially with the AB5 stuff. This article is Matt Leffler, the armchair attorney, shared this one. And I wanted to talk about this because this is on Crane's Grand Rapids business. Former employees sue logistics companies, sue logistics company alleging labor law and privacy violations. Multiple former employees are accusing a large Kentwood-based freight brokerage of violating federal labor and state privacy laws in a new lawsuit affecting potentially hundreds of current and former workers. The lawsuit against B&L Systems LLC, which does business as Fifth Wheel Freight and is among the top 100 logistics firms in North America, was filed on March 1st, in the U.S. District Court of Western Michigan. The suit seeks class action status as the plaintiff estimates 500 to 1,000 current and former employees could be owed wages after not receiving overtime pay. The former employees are represented by a Chicago-based Volker litigation group. There's a lot more to this case than, at least in my opinion, a typical overtime case where a company is caught not following the laws and not paying their employees overtime, said Daniel Volker, who is the attorney. Fifth Wheel Freight officials did not respond or comment for this story. In the complaint, former employees Garrett Schuler, Robert Maurer, and Matt Groh and Cameron Bonney accused the company and two executives of violating the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act and Michigan Improved Workforce Opportunity Wage Act. The lawsuit accuses Fifth Wheel Freight of intentionally violating the FLSA by requiring and permitting the former employees and other workers, to work more than 40 hours per week without receiving overtime pay, and misclassifying them as exempt employees while they worked in non-exempt logistics and sales roles. The former employees claim they were encouraged or sometimes demanded to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Despite working first shift hours per the court filing, the complaint adds that the employee's handbook states normal hours are from 8 till 5 p.m. Per the complaint, Fifth Wheel Freight also operates a second shift between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. Volker said the company is trying to save money by essentially forcing its employees to work after 5 p.m. until the second shift clocked in to avoid a third shift that would reduce profits. So this is like, I got to be very careful about what I'm about to say because I don't want this to bite me in the ass later on in life. I look at it like this. If you work in a sales role, and this is across every single industry, I don't know every point of this case, as I'm sure more and more information that would come out, but I know a lot of people who work outside of normal working hours in sales roles. They work nights, they work weekends. And there's just a lot of stuff out there that I think there's a lot of gray area. One Okay, so that was just I'm going to read through the rest of the article here. Here's an example of them because according to the app, Fifth Amendment Privacy Act, yada yada yada. According the app uses GPS technology to monitor employee whereabouts during or after work hours. He said that employees were not fully aware of the extent of the app's monitoring features, only that it had the capability to forward work calls to their personal phones since the company did not provide work phones. One of the scenarios I learned was that they were tracked one employee at the gym during work hours. Volker said, adding that the employee was reprimanded. Not that there's anything wrong with telling your employees needs to be working from 8 to 5, but to the point is that how closely they are monitoring the movements and the whereabouts of their employees. He views the violation as a company playing Big Brother. I think the most egregious part of this kind of pressure they put on employees is basically saying, look, we know where you are, we know what you're doing, and we know who you're talking to. We know what calls you pick up, which calls you don't. I suspect we're going to see a complete change in behavior of the company now that the lawsuit has come out. Yeah, that's excessive, right? Like tracking your employees like that. Like I can see again working after hours, right? Because from my personal, I'm available, right? Outside of your standard hours. And I know most people who work in sales roles are like that. I would never like knowing where somebody is at all times, like that's a great overreach by this company. That's a ballsy fucking move. I'll put it that way. That's a ballsy move to have your employees download an app and then you can kind of call them out to know where they are at all times. That's ridiculous. And then, also talking about compensation in there, working overtimes. One of them was terminated because of his complaints that were out there. And then they also going on the plaintiff seek compensatory damage, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So essentially, these guys are suing them because it clearly looks like they overstepped their reach here. And again, I don't know all the details of this case. I just saw what had happened out there, and I know for a fact that because I was involved in a similar class action lawsuit. I was a named plaintiff out there. I'm not going to go into details on the show, but you can just Google my last name and you will be able to find that out there because it's very similar to this. That like not to this extent by any means. They weren't tracking our stuff, but it is. You have to make sure that you are properly classifying your employees that are out there because again, like normal working hours are one thing, but then like I guarantee there's a lot more to this that was done that is not listed in this article because obviously this is just a brief overview out here, but I think that this is just another reminder that when you have to be very careful about the state that you're operating in, what you are telling your employees, and really, I mean, monitoring their fucking location, like that's fucking excessive. That's some communist shit right there. Tracking every single amount of their moves, that's ridiculous. I'm sure there's a lot more to this that is going to come out, and I'm sure that I'm going to get some DMs from some individuals who are involved in this because that's kind of what happens after I talk about these cases publicly like this. But again, I think that this is a very clear reminder to anybody out there who owns a business and you have employees. You better be aware of the employment laws that are over your business because you will get sued. It's FAFO, fuck around and find out. I think that we can chalk this up to somebody fucked around with their employees and now they're finding out that they broke the law and they probably knew they were breaking the law, but something tells me that this is going to get settled outside of court. There's going to be some money that is going to be paid to these individuals and they're going to just be quiet. That's probably what's going to happen eventually. That's just my guess. The freight coach tinfoil hat theory here. This case will be settled outside of court. These individuals will be paid some hush money. They'll stop talking. It'll go away. Probably. That's just my assumption. But again, read up on this if you're a business owner, especially if you're a business owner in the state of Michigan, where this lawsuit is taking place against Fifth Wheel Freight out there. Yeah. But that I think that's all we're going to be able to get to today. I'm not going to be able to get to the third article. But yeah, you guys, that was the show talking about detention and then talking about not not tracking your fucking employees' whereabouts to make sure that oh man, that's some pretty dumb shit right there. But that'll be it for today, you guys. I got some guests coming on Thursday and Friday this week, but we'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. As always, if you guys got value in what you heard today, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network. Yes, this is how we grow, but most importantly, this is how we can help more people, is because if you saw value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.